Yo kids, it is time for Canjo Year on the Road. I know I'm not Canjo, but I got to spend a week with the boy, so it's my turn to tell stories. So settle in kids, it's time for story time with Dave. Lucky you. First of all, I'm doing this on a bike. I hope you can hear okay. I'm doing it on a bike because I tried it at home and I just hated it. Our trip started Thursday, January, I don't know, 23rd or 4th or something. I suppose I could have looked, huh? January 23rd. First of all, I gotta talk about the beast. Canjo had to take it in for service, so we rented the Marriott on wheels, a Dodge Caravan. We loaded that puppy up and cruised north, bound for International Falls, Minnesota, and the Canadian border. We drove north on a snowy Thursday, and as we neared Duluth, it was a long drive because of the snow. As we neared Duluth, Canjo's like, hey man, I gotta stop and pick up a coat from some dude I ordered it from. All right, so we go to the guy's house. He's got a workshop in his garage, and like, we kind of figured we'd just pick the thing up, give the guy his money, and head on our way. We were so wrong. First of all, the guy asked to take some measurements of Canjo. He's got to make some final adjustments before giving him the coat. Okay, well, we go in the workshop, and the coat is basically a poncho with no sleeves, and there's 2 sleeves sitting on the table. Okay, well, the dude like makes Canjo slip it on, puts on the sleeves, takes some measurements, takes it all off. Canjo and I are like, all right, man, I guess we'll see you on our way back from Arrowhead. The guy's like, I don't know, you got a few minutes? Sure. The guy stitches the thing together, puts the sleeves on, puts the snaps on, drawstrings, like completely finishes the coat in front of our very eyes. It was amazing. Canjo slips the guy the best $150 he's ever spent, and I don't think Canjo has taken that thing off since. In Duluth, we stayed with the McFaddens, Todd and Diana McFadden. Todd and Diana are legit. Like, let me just tell you how legit. Not that we are the scale for legitness, but Todd's like, oh yeah, Diana and I rode tandem at Schwamigan once. I was like, oh, that's cool. What's the scoop? He's like, oh, we just had our son 12 years ago in July, Bodie. We'll talk about him in a second. And we decided to do Schwamigan on a tandem in September. And I'm like, okay, how'd you do? I ask, thinking that Shirley D and I like broke their legs off and handed them one spot lower in the standings. He's like, oh, we got second. All right, I enjoyed my humble pie. So their kid, Bodie, the dude got all of their BA genes. He is on the Duluth gravity team. And I feel like that's winning enough. But they were in Copper Harbor last summer, and Bodie does this thing called man pants. Check it out.
Yeah, bud! Yes. Perfect. Yeah! Yeah! Perfect.
Yeah, I'll never be doing man pants. Not now, not ever. Friday when we were in Duluth, Rock came up and we went skiing. Todd told us of a place over the bridge in Wisconsin that was pretty flat. Not a lot of hills. We thought that'd be a good idea. Oh! Man down, man down. Oh! Man down, man down. After skiing, we went back to Duluth for some coffee. Dovetail Coffee Shop. The world's most educational loo.
This loo is unmissable. What is amazing about this particular loo is it is adorned, that's my word for the day, with how to do anything. And when I say anything, they had directions on how to build a rocket. And some of you may not know this, but Dave's son is a rocket scientist. That's no joke. So, whoa, get your fat hand out of the way. That's it for this edition of In Search of the Perfect Loo from the Dovetail Coffee Shop in Duluth, Minnesota. I missed the real gem. There was another loo, and this does have all the how-to. Build a rocket. Fire comes out here. This part goes first. Second, in case any of you were thinking about how to build a rocket, or perhaps a large touring vessel.
So next to the coffee shop is a cute little barbecue joint, and they have a courtyard with a fire going. We enjoyed that fire. Do something because you're on film.
Oh, we are at show 'em, Mable. Oink, Moo, Cluck Barbecue House.
It smells so good.
It smells so good, and we just got done with some skinny skis in Duluth. A year on the road, baby.
What are you doing?
Ain't life grand? Just got done with some skinny skis and some coffee, and now Mabel and I just stopped by this place, and the guy comes out and goes, "S'mores on the house." Who would turn that down?
Right. I know that other fire was nice and warm and everything, but this is the way it's really done. I think if you are in Duluth, you have to do this.
Or you can't really claim that you've been in Duluth.
Right. And it's right across the street from the Frost River Trading Company, which is unbelievable. So good. More Duluth, Minnesota. Oink Moo Cluck. Across the street from Oink Moo Cluck is Frost River Trading Company, where they make handmade soft goods, like super nice stuff. We got a tour of their factory, which is below the showroom. It was pretty cool. And we were just about to leave the first time we were there, and we ended up in a conversation with some guy behind the counter, and we're telling him about 1,000 miles to Nome and our experience on the Iditarod Trail. He's like, oh, I lived in Unicolete. He was an editor of Musher magazine and lived in Unicolete. And he begins to tell us a story about how every October he and a friend would load up the sled and mush 50 miles up the Caltag Portage and into the woods, set up a wall tent, and spend 6 months trapping and living out in the wilderness with their dogs. You just never know. It's a bumpy road. On Saturday, we loaded up the Marriott on wheels and drove up to International Falls. Somebody farted.
I gotta pee.
Did you fart earlier?
How much earlier?
Stopped at Gateway convenience store or market and had a little fun.
Me and my man on the road again on our way to International Falls. Filming you, filming me, filming you, filming me. Yeehaw! Riding walleye, baby! Yeehaw!
Most fun you can have on a walleye right here. Once we got to International Falls, we made a stop at the Canadian border to say hi to Canada. Like just that amount of water between us and Canada. If it weren't 0 Celsius, I can say Celsius because we're almost in Canada. I could swim there across that little river. Hi, Canada. On Sunday, it was time for a little playtime. Steve, Todd, and their friend Eric got a little bike time in, and I went for a impromptu ski on the Arrowhead Trail. Got a little of Dave Arrowhead 1.35. I actually overshot a bit on some skinny skis because I've done 1.6 and I meant to do 1.35 miles, but you know, you get in the groove and just start freaking ripping the trail, baby, because that's what I'm doing on these sticks. It's totally ripping the trail in jeans and a hooded sweatshirt. But hey, when in Rome, right? Anyway, peace out. Dave's Arrowhead 1.35 plus experience 2020. Come Monday morning at 7, the race started off with the bang. Kanjo took off on his bike. I took off in the Marriott on wheels, and I found a nice little spot to shoot about 17 miles into the race. And after shooting like a whole bunch of people on their fat bikes coming at me and going away from me, I got a little artsy and went into the woods. And of course my timing was impeccable.
Photo op. Hey, there he is, Mr. Cannon.
Kanjo! You look so good.
Charles coming. Are they? Yeah, coming right now. Over here for a photo op.
I ran into Kanjo next, just outside the Gateway Market at the checkpoint at mile 37, I think.
Ain't nothing better than this, brother. Especially seeing you.
I love you, brother.
Love you too.
And I also ran into Todd McFadden, who took a break. You know I'm filming this, right?
Oh, I don't care. I'll try my P art. F-T, M-F, F-A-D-D, E-N, Arrowhead, 135. Perfect. Look at that.
That's talent. That's also a whole lot of P.
Yeah.
Hey man, when you gotta go, right? Hi horses. Well, the next couple days I spent chasing people around on the Arrowhead Trail, filming them and getting stories and such. And Canjo spent some time on his bike doing the Iditarod style of Arrowhead, which is instead of just racing it in one shot, he spent some time sleeping at Mel George's. Kind of funny because he and I were both at this checkpoint at mile 70 at the same time for several hours and never saw each other. But that's how it goes on the Arrowhead Trail. Once the race was wrapped up and we packed up and headed south, we stopped again at McFadden's, spent the night, had dinner at the Bent Paddle Brewery, ordered in some Oink Moo Cluck. It was delicious. And Todd he works at the local beer distributor, so I might have had the opportunity to test some locally brewed beers while in Duluth, and that was a real treat. And as we're leaving in the morning, Todd made sure to tell me to pack a box. So I brought home a full box of interesting locally brewed beers that we are going to have a super fun taste testing sometime. Well, Canjo parked that Blue Beast for a month and a half while he's in Alaska, heading out on the Iditarod Trail, doing the North Route. I'm going to be editing up me some film clips of the Arrowhead 135, and when he gets back in that Blue Beast, I will have spliced together some story from Arrowhead, and we'll have us a movie showing for you. Might even be a double feature. So keep your eyes out, and thank you for joining us for episode 6 of Canjo's Year on the Road. Be sure and hit subscribe, share, like, all that social fun stuff, and follow along for a full year on the road with Canjo. Peace out.